Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. It is Thursday, so we are talking Turner syndrome. And this week, I want to touch on something that I have not talked about yet, very in detail at least, and that is NVLD. I've touched on NVLD. I've touched on a few little topics within NVLD. I feel like I haven't gone into super detail, and I specifically have only touched on a few ways that NVLD has affected me and how it has impacted me. So if you don't know what NVLD is, it is nonverbal learning disorder. It is one of the things that comes with Turner syndrome and is very common with Turner syndrome. It affects a lot of different things. It can affect you in a lot of different ways. There are a few key ways that you can really easily notice, and there's a few key ways it has affected me. So first I will go over some of the common symptoms and effects. The general definition of nonverbal learning disorder is a disorder where somebody with it has a major discrepancy between very high verbal skills but lower nonverbal skills as far as reading social cues, reading body language and facial expressions, and also coordination and spatial perception. So it affects things like social situations and feeling confident in them. It affects how you act in a relationship because you may not be able to read all of their cues correctly as far as their body language and facial expressions. So either you miss them or misinterpret them and take it as something else. For me, I'm a huge klutz, and that comes with the coordination part. I'm also terrible with math, which is a thing that is a part of nonverbal learning disorder because it is numbers and my brain does not do numbers. Also, spatial awareness. I am not horrible with this, but I'm also not the best. My depth perception is definitely not in tune completely. And that affects things like driving, like walking, like placing things somewhere and them not falling, things like that. It affects a lot of little things that can seem subtle until you're noticing all of these patterns. And so, like I mentioned, for me, social cues a little bit, in that I sometimes do have trouble taking jokes as jokes just because they don't feel like jokes to me at all. And part of that may be a lot of me is like ripe for joking and making fun and giving me a hard time. Part of that also might be I'm just more sensitive. There's a whole mixture of things with that probably. I know for sure the math thing is a part of that for me. I have struggled with math literally my entire life, and that is just a thing with me. I have never had math come easy for me. It's always been a struggle. The one time where I felt like I thrived instead of just literally survived, it was my teacher. It was just the absolute best case scenario I could have gotten for me personally with how I learn. And even still, it was a lot of hard work and intentionality. It was rough. So that is, I feel like, the biggest way. So me personally, I have not had any trouble making friends or in social situations. I do tend to take things people say more literally than I probably should. I do have the issue of trying to read social cues and like, okay, how are you intending that? Are you being serious or are you joking right now? Because it gets hard to tell sometimes. And mostly it's with a specific type of humor, and that's where I get sensitive. And I'm like, but what do you really mean? And that's me. I'm a sensitive person. I always have been. And that's just me. I have heard a lot of stories of ladies that struggle with social anxiety and confidence because of it, and just have trouble trying to bridge that communication gap that can be created by that. So intentionality has been what that has taught me. And I think in all of the little ways that this affects you, it can be hard to see how much it's truly impacting things until you add all of those up. And then you're noticing you don't quite have the depth perception that you could, and you took something somebody said more seriously than they're saying they intended it. And if you're anything like me, you're extremely uncoordinated. So there's that. This is just my story with NVLD. That's my little spiel on what it is and ways it might impact you. I would love to hear any thoughts you guys have, any stories you have that you would like to share, any experiences with it at all. And I will link resources for more information in the description box for NVLD. If you have any specific questions about it, about my experience or Turner's in general, please leave those down below as well. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helped you. If it did, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications on, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye!